Yeah, is it visible? Screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So yesterday we completed shaping. That is one of the reciprocating machine, and I think you are comfortable with the question bank. Now this is slotting machine. This is also type of reciprocating machine. Hello, I am audible, no? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. So slotting machine is also a type of reciprocating machine. This is an image. So in case of shaping machine, the RAM travels horizontally, whereas in case of slotting machine, the RAM, this is what is called as the RAM, so that travels in vertical direction. So the tool is attached to the clapper blocks, which is over here. So this is termed as a Z axis, and then table can be moved in these two direction, that is Y and X. There is an another optional attachment that is called the rotary table. So this what you can see is a rotary table which is useful for indexing. Like suppose if you want to do two keyways or four keyways, or if you want to cut splines, or if you want to cut internal teeth, then that can be done with the help of a circular table. Hmm. The purpose of slotting machine is mainly for doing the keyways, internal keyway. And suppose if you want to do two keyways, then you have to index the workpiece at 180 degree. If you want to do four keyways, then you need to index or rotate the table at 90 degree. So you can call slotting machine as a vertical axis shaper machine, like suppose shaper machine, if you make it vertical, so that is nothing but the slotting machine, so everything is same. This is a simple diagram. This is RAM, this is for the column, then you have a motor here, then from the motor, the drive is transmitted uh, to the RAM, and then this is a rotary table. Whatever quick return mechanism we have seen in shaping machines, the same are applicable in slaughter also. So these are the different parts of a slotting machine. You have a base, then column, then table and RAM. Again, the most important specification of the slotting machine is its stroke. What is the maximum stroke that you will get? So 1 feet slotting machine is common. 1 feet is nothing but 300 millimeter. The maximum stroke is 300 millimeter. Then there are other parameters like what is the height between table and head, what is the diameter of the table, what is the longitudinal travel, that is x-axis, what is the traverse of the table in cross direction, that is nothing but y-axis, what is the overall height, what is the length, width, height of the bed, etc., etc. So these are the other specifications, but the most important specification is the maximum stroke, that is how much is the stroke that you are going to get. Like suppose if I want to do a keyway of say 320 millimeter, then that cannot be possible, that is not possible in 1 feet slaughter, because in 1 feet slaughter you can do keyway of only 300 millimeter. So the mechanism remains same. You have slotted link drive, you have hydraulic drive, then you have slotted disc mechanism, and you have variable speed reversible motor drive. Variable speed reversible motor drive is not that common. The different types of slotters are puncher slotter, which is used for punching, then general production slotting, that is used for mainly for internal splines or internal keyways or internal teeth. Remember, slotting machine is used for internal work. Then precision tool room slotters. So here the accuracy of the machine is good. And key seater. Key seater means it is a dedicated slotting machine which is used only for cutting the slots. The different work holding devices which can be used on the slotting machines are clamps, that is strap clamps, then T bolts, then vice. Again in vice, the universal vice is most common. Then parallel strips. Parallel strips is nothing but the parallel blocks which are used for clamping the workpieces. Then special fixtures for holding the work. These are called the slotting fixtures. Like you have turning fixture, milling fixture, grinding fixture, broaching fixture. So similarly, you have fixture which is used for work holding on slotting machine. So that is called the slotting fixture. As I told you, the applications of slotter are you can cut internal grooves or internal keyways. Then you can cut internal teeth, that is called the internal gears. And you can also do internal recesses. The recesses and keyways are almost the same thing. So that was a very short presentation on slotting machine. So the images I already shown you yesterday. Then you also have broaching in your syllabus. So broaching is again it's like a vertical shaping machine, but in slaughter single point tool is attached, whereas in broaching machine multiple point tool which is called the broach is used for cutting. Application of broaching is mainly for finishing the hole, mainly for finishing the hole. Again, the broaching is used in mass production. Broaching is used in mass production. It gives finish, excellent finish on the bore, and it is very fast also. So if the quantity is more, like say 1,000 pieces or 10,000 pieces, then you have to go for broach. Nobody can use broaching machine for 1 or 2 pieces because the cost of the broach is high. The minimum cost of the broach is 1 lakhs, and depending upon the diameter and the length, the cost will vary. So it can vary. It can go as high as 25 lakhs or 30 lakhs. So suppose if you want to finish the hole, and the size of the hole is say 20 dia H7, H7, that is capital H. So that is a fit. H7G6, that is a fit of the hole and the shaft. So H7 generally it will conform to 15 to 20 microns, again depending upon the size. If I say 20 H7, so if I want to write the tolerances 20 H7, it will be 20 plus 0 plus 0.018, that is 18 micron. So it will be on the positive side, plus side, H7. So there are two ways to finish this. You can use reamer if the quantity is less, and if you want to do reamer, of course you have to do first pilot drilling. So 20 H7 के लिए reaming allowance will be around 0.3 millimeter. So you'll have to have a drill of 19.7, and then you can use a reamer of 20. Now what happens in reaming, the feed rates are very low. The feed rates are in the range of 0.08 to zero point 0.1 millimeter per revolution. Even the cutting speeds are also less. Cutting speeds for reamings are 8 meters per minute for MS workpiece and HSS reamer. So again, another constant is reamer. It goes in feed while cutting, and while retracting also it returns in feed. You cannot retract reamer rapidly, because if you are retracting the reamer rapidly, then it will spoil the finish, the rimmed finish of the hole. So obviously the machining time will increase. Suppose if I give an example of, say, if you want to ream a hole of say 50 mm, if the length or if the height of the hole or the length of the hole to be rimmed is say 50 mm, since it is reamer is going in feed and retracting in feed, machining length will be obviously double, that is 100 mm plus approach and overshoot obviously. And then you'll have to calculate the RPM by 8 meters per minute. You have to calculate the RPM. So V is equal to pi d n upon 1000. So you will get an RPM. Then as per 0.1 millimeter per revolution, you can calculate the feed in millimeter per minute, and then you know the total length and divide total length by the feed in millimeter per minute, so that you will get machining time in minutes. So let us say if the RPM is say 100 revolutions per minute, multiply by feed rate 0.1, so the feed rate will be 100 into 0.1, so that is 10 millimeter per minute. And now the total length of the hole is 100, so 100 divided by 10, so that means it is going to take 10 minutes if I am considering a RPM of 100. So 10 minutes, imagine. And same piece if I want to broach, the broach is not rotating. Broach doesn't rotate, it just reciprocates. As I told that it works like a slotting machine. And the cutting speed for the broaches are in the range of 7 meters per minute. And your length is 50 mm. So 50 mm divided by 7 meters. So it will come in seconds. And the return speed is always double. Return speed in case of broaching is always double. So for the return speed, you can consider a cutting speed of 14 meters per minute, or if the forward speed or the forward time, machining time is say 10 seconds, then for the return it will be 5 seconds. You can straight away take like that. So the total time will be 15 seconds. Now if you divide the length of the hole to be broach is 50, and the broach length, if the length of the broach is say 300 mm, so that is the broach which has to be passed to the hole is 300 mm. So 300 divided by 7 meters, 7 meters per minute is the cutting speeds. So you can calculate what will be the time required. Here you have to remember, you have to consider the broach length, and you are not supposed to consider the length of the hole to be broached. Remember, I am telling again and again, you have to consider the length of the broach and not length of the hole, because it is the broach which is going to pass through the hole. It is a broach, the complete broach has to pass. So if I am considering the broach length of 300 millimeter, and if the cutting speed is 7 meters per minute, so 300 divided by 7,000, 7 into 1000, so it will be 3 by 7, so that will come around 3 seconds, and return is 1.5 seconds. So 3 plus 4.5, 1.5, that is 4.5. So you can take it as 5 seconds. So look now, for the reaming it is taking 10 minutes, and for the broaching it is 5 seconds. For the broaching it is 5 seconds. So it is very fast. So if we have a quantity like say 10,000 pieces or lakhs of pieces, then the cost of investment on the broach can be recovered very fast. So this is economical. Broaching operation is economical only in mass production. If you have one or two pieces, then you can go for reamer. The cost of the reamer will be around 300 or 400 rupees, M16 or 20 dia hole. So that 300, 400 you can afford for one or two pieces, but you cannot afford 1 lakh, cost of 1 lakh rupees for a brooch just for two pieces. That is not possible. So a brooch will look like this. This is what a brooch is look like. It is like a hacksaw blade only, but look at these teeth. The teeth are progressively increasing, and this is what is called the rise per teeth. Rise per teeth. So the rise is in the range of 0.05 millimeter. So initial cut, like say you have drilled a hole of say 19.7. If you want to finish a 20 dia. So the first hole, the first cut, this diameter of this teeth will be 19.7. Then this will be 19 point, add 0.05, so it will be 19.75. Or if it is, if the rise is 0.02, this will be 19.72, then 19.74, 19.76, 19.78, 19.8. So like that there will be a series of teeth. If the rise is more, then number of teeth will be less. If the rise is less, then the number of teeth will be more. There are two types of broaching. One is called as the horizontal pull type, and another is called as the vertical push type. So here the brooch is pushed. See, this is what a brooch will look like, and it has a teeth which are increasing progressively. And in pull, the brooch is pulled across the hole. Remember, you cannot do broaching in solid. I have been telling you that you need to have a drilled hole first. You need to drill a hole first. So these are the teeth. This is a teeth. This is a teeth. This is a teeth. These are the teeth on the. This is a round brooch. This is called the round brooch. This is not a keyway brooch. Why we are using round brooch? Because we want to finish a round hole. Suppose if you want to cut a keyway, then you will use a rectangular brooch. You will use a rectangular brooch if you want to cut a keyway. Then a rectangular brooch will be used. This is push and this is pull. So oftenly the vertical broaching machines are common because of the space constraint. Because normally in any unit you will get a height, but it's difficult to get a length. Like suppose if I want to purchase a horizontal broaching machine, then it is going to occupy a lot of space. It is going to occupy a lot of space, and in Mumbai or anywhere the space is always a constraint. So that's why the broaching machines are always vertical broaching machines. And in push type broaching machine, the the constructions also is, and the design is also simple as against your horizontal pull type brooch. A typical brooch will consist of so many parts. Like you have a pilot here, and at the two sides, like at the pull end you have a pilot which is called the front pilot, and then at the rear side it is called the rear pilot. So this front pilot will correspond to the size of the drilled hole. Like suppose if I want to finish a hole of say 20, 20 dia 20 H7, then this diameter will be 19.7, and you will have progressively increasing diameter teeth. As I said, 19.7, then 19.72, 19.74. This can be little less also, 19.68, so that it can run through the drilled hole. It can run to the drilled hole easily. So the last teeth will conform to the size of 20. Then you have again a finishing teeth of 20. So finishing teeth, or it is also called as the burnishing teeth. Like we do shaving, and last cut we just apply the razor for 2-3 times, or our face pack at the last finishing we apply for 2-3 times. So similarly, we have finishing teeth which is of the same size, that is diameter 20, in order to get a good finish. And as I give an example, a 20 dia hole, and if the broach length, see, this is the broach length. Why we are considering the broach length, and why not we are considering the length of the hole? Because this broach has to pass completely through the hole, then only the broaching can be completed. It is not like a reamer. If you are using a reamer, then reamer will pass through the length of the hole to be rimmed, so 50 mm. Even if you are having a reamer of say 150 mm long, you are not going to pass complete reamer 150 mm long. You are only going to pass 50 mm portion only. So that's why for machining time on reamer we are considering only 50. But in broaching that is not so, because the finishing teeth are at the end, so the complete broach has to pass through the hole. So that's why again and again I am repeating that for calculating machining time in broaching, you need to consider the total broach length. So there is a calculation how to calculate the total branch length. Like this pull end is generally 50 mm, this is again 50 mm, and this is 50 mm. Then this pitch, there are formulas for calculating the pitch, there are formulas for calculating the number of teeth, which you will learn in machining science and technology, how to calculate the pitch, how to calculate this teeth. But on an average, you can consider the total broach length, you can assume as 500 mm to be on the safer side. So even if you consider 500 mm, the machining time will still remain in seconds only, because we just now calculated 3 by 7, 300 divided by 7,000, it was coming somewhere around 5 seconds. So if you are going to use 500 mm broaching length, it will be around 8 or 9 seconds. This is the mathematical model for calculating the pitch. 1.25 times under root of L to 1.5 times under root of L, where L is the length of the hole to be broached. This is the zoomed view of the broach teeth. And see this, you can see here clearly, this is called as the rise. This A is nothing but it's a rise. This is what is your rise is. And these are the different angles, like this is a rake angle, this is clearance angle on the teeth. This is for the secondary angle, the most important being the rake angle and the clearance angle. That is what the most important is, rake angle and the clearance angle. Here broaching fixture for pull type broach is shown. How to fit pull type broach with the help of an adapter and a pin, that is what is shown in this diagram. No doubt broaches are used for finishing the holes. Broaches can also be used for surface machining. Surface machining, that is like a face milling operation, you can use the surface broach. But of course surface broach etc., those are not common. Only internal broaching is common, and that too for finishing the holes, and for cutting the splines, and for cutting the keyways, and for cutting the internal teeth. The broaching is, these are the applications which are common. This particular application, it shows broaching of a keyway. See, this is a flat broach which is used for keyway, and here you can see this is a workpiece, okay, and in which this portion, this hatched portion, is being broached. That is what is called the keyway. So the internal broaching machine is commonly manufactured. These are the different type of broaches. See, hole means it need not be only round, it can be square also, or it can be rectangular also. Hole can be. Hmm. So this is a square broach which is used for finishing the square holes, or you can have a rectangular broach also. So these are the customized broaches. Round broaches are more common, and in that also round broaches are manufactured in lots also, in standard sizes like 10, 12, 16, 20, up to 25. Hmm. Other sizes has to be customized. There are, brooch manufacturers, so they will make a brooch for you. This is a single keyway brooch. This is a double keyway brooch. Double keyway brooch means two keyways will be done in one stroke. Two keyways will be done in one stroke. So obviously the machining time will be reduced, plus this alignment. Like suppose if you are using a single keyway broach, then here you will have to rotate the workpiece by 180 degree. But then this will be at the cost of accuracy. In the rotation 180 degree, that 180 degree will never be precise. There will be some plus minus 179 or 181. Whereas if you are using a double keyway broach, then this will be exactly whatever accuracy you have on the broach, the same accuracy you will get it on the workpiece. These are called the splines. Splines is nothing but internal gear only. But in internal gear, the number of teeth are more, and splines, there are usually four splines. Huh? And this spline is used as a keyway only. As a keyway. What is the purpose of keyway? Keyway helps to reduce the relative motion between the shaft and the pulley. So depending upon the torque and depending upon the load, you decide whether to go for one keyway, two keyway, three or four. Obviously the four keyways, four spline means nothing but the four keyways. So if you have four splines, definitely it is going to be a strong, and it's going to transmit more amount of torque. Like I said, round, square, rectangular, you can also finish the hexagonal holes also. You can finish the hexagonal holes also. Hmm. So hole means not only round. See, holes need not be round. Holes can be square holes, rectangular holes, pentagonal holes, and even hexagonal holes also. Uh, Hexagonal holes also. So hole means not necessarily it should be round. And brooch again, not necessarily that it should be round. You can have a square brooch, rectangular brooch, hexagonal brooch, anything. Hmm. This diagram shows the how to do external gear teeth by broaching. But then cutting external gear teeth by broaching is very difficult. You need very high degree of discipline in manufacturing the broach and in manufacturing the external gear also. So the most common process for gear external gear teeth is, you have studied already, that is nothing but gear hobbing or gear shaping. No doubt they are little slower than gear broaching, but then by external gear broaching means it's very expensive affair, and Again, there are some technological or accuracy wise there are some restrictions. We have been discussing the internal broaching applications. Here are some applications for the external surfaces. So broaches are classified as pull type and push type, which I told you. Broaches are also classified as profile sharpen type broaches and form relief type broaches. Form relief type of broaches they are used where the profiles are non-uniform, but you don't bother about this because that is too deep. Whereas in case of profile sharpen type broaches, the rake angle and the clearance angle remain same for all the cutting teeth. So this was about broach, pull type broach, push type broach, profile sharpen broach, and form relieved broach. Out of which pull and push broach are common. Similarly, you have broaching machines also. Again, the broaching machine, the most important parameter is like your slotting. So, what is the maximum stroke you are going to get on the broaching machine? That is the most important specification of the broaching machine. So, that is maximum stroke length. And obviously, there are other parameters like what is the type of the broaching machine, horizontal, vertical, what is the maximum working force, whether it is pull or push. What is the what is the force that you are going to get, cutting force especially. Hmm. What is the maximum possible cutting velocity, then what is the power requirement, and so on. The broaching machines are classified in this way, that is according to the purpose of use, nature of work, whether it is internal broaching or external. External broaching is only employed for surface broaching only. Then with the horizontal vertical, that is according to the configuration, according to the number of slides. So whether it is single station, multiple station, or indexing type. Then according to tool or work motion. So this is how a horizontal broaching machine will look like. See how much space it is going to take. And look at vertical broaching machine, it is very compact, only what it needs is height. And generally in any industrial unit you go, the 10 feet height is common, and these machines are usually on an average it needs 8 feet. This diagram shows how the continuous broaching is carried out. Like these are the workpieces which are kept on a rotating table, and this is what is your broach is, and you can see the broach along with the teeth. You can see the broach along with the teeth. So this is the broach, and these are the workpieces. This is a broach here, and these are the workpieces. So this is external broaching. Here the advantages and limitations of the broachings are discussed, which you can go through. Like you have very high production rate, accuracy is good, hmm, very fast, and blah blah blah. Then limitations may, you cannot do blind holes. The holes has to be through and through. Or surfaces also cannot be blind. On the surface broaching, you cannot do the shoulders. Shoulder machining or shoulder broaching is not possible. So that is the biggest limitations. Again, only through holes can be done. So that was about your reciprocating machine. So in reciprocating machine, we have seen shaping machine, slotting machine, and broaching machine. Why it is called as the, and also planing machine also. So here the tool or the workpiece rotate, reciprocates. So in case of shaping, slotting, and broaching, the tool reciprocates, whereas in case of planing machine, the workpiece reciprocates. All right. Huh? So now we will go for finishing processes. Purpose of finishing processes is to get a good surface finish as well as a good accuracy on the workpieces, because there are limitations on the machining processes like lathe, milling, drilling, shaping, planing, where you don't get good surface finish as well as good accuracy. That is first thing. Second thing is finishing process are employed on hard components like grinding, lapping. If the after heat treatment, your lathe, that is turning processes, your milling processes or drilling processes will fail. You cannot perform. So that time you have options like grinding machines, super finishing, lapping, honing, or EDM, etc. That is, but that is non-conventional machining. Okay. So we will see various finishing processes, and out of this, from the examination point of view, the grinding process is very, very, very important. Hmm. Mostly all the finishing processes employs abrasives. Abrasives is nothing but a grain kind of thing. There are grains which are of aluminum oxide or silicon carbide. These grains are, and these grains are mounted on a wheel which is rotating. So any cutting action, any cutting, you should have always a cutting motion. Without cutting motion, cutting will not happen. For example, like suppose if you want to cut an apple and you have a knife, okay. So this is also a cutting process. cutting an apple with the help of a knife. But now suppose if you just keep your knife on the apple or on the bread, if you want to cut a bread, or if you just keep your knife, आप छुरी अगर रखेंगे एप्पल के ऊपर, and if you don't move the knife, you just keep it on the apple, there will not be any cutting, isn't it? Because there is no cutting motion, there is no cutting velocity. Unless and until you move the knife, unless and until you give the cutting velocity, the cutting of the bread or cutting of the apple will not happen. So here the abrasives, that is grains, which are of silicon carbide or aluminum oxide, are mounted on the rotating wheel, and that wheel rotates and workpiece also rotates. In case of cylindrical grinding, there are again different types of grinding, cylindrical grinding or surface grinding, that we'll see. First, let us understand what is abrasives. So abrasives are nothing but grain or dana, which are typically made of silicon carbide or aluminum oxide. And there are many abrasives. These are basically very small grains, and they are hard, they are very sharp. Okay, now this, ये जो grains है, on the rotating wheel they are bonded, चिपकाया जाता है, they are bonded using some bonding techniques and using some bonding medias. Okay, and there is some gap between the two grains. There is some gap between the two grains. So the abrasive removal process is best achieved with bonded abrasives. You get a good size, you get a good surface finish. The material removal rate is also quite fancy or quite attractive. Accuracy and finish, obviously, you get marvelous. And another benefit is you can cut hard materials. What are the various abrasive processes which are common? That is grinding, honing, lapping, and super finishing. All are commonly used, but out of these four, if you ask me, grinding and honing are most popular. Grinding and honing are most popular because they are less expensive and quite fast. Like honing is the only one process which is used for finishing the cylinder holes like engines. uh, if it is a four cylinder engines, you have four cylinders, so inside the cylinder the piston reciprocates, so that means there is a to and fro motion, sliding motion. So you need to have a piston which is very good, smooth finish, and the hole, that is cylinder hole, also has to be finished, because if the surfaces are rough, then you will not get a good motion, and over a period this roughness will increase and the motion will not be good enough, so you will have a dugu dugu kind of motion, so that is going to spoil the performance of the engine. So mostly all the internal holes, they are honed to get a good finish. Now as I told, you can do the broaching also, but generally the broaching are used up to 25, and honings are used above 25, 25, 50, because you can do broaching of 100 mm size also, but then broach is very expensive. The broach is very expensive, it will go in around 10 lakhs if you want to have a 100 ka broach. So the honing is the best option. Honing is the best option. So generally the grindings, they are used for external as well as internal grinding. Honing is used only for internal hole finishing. Lapping is used for external as well as for internal finishing, and then you have super finishing, which is used for internal as well as external things. Okay. Grinding, EDM, these are all the final operations in any process plant that is done after heat treatment or after hardening. These are some, see, as I have been telling, any machines or any metal cutting operation, you must first understand what are the most different motions. Like here now, the first diagram, here the workpiece is rotating, grinding wheel is rotating, grinding, any grinding operation, the grinding wheel will always keep on rotating. Remember, grinding wheel is not stationary. Why? If if the grinding wheel is stationary, the cutting will happen, but then cutting the grinding wheel will erode only at one point, which is in contact with the workpiece. So after two or three pieces, the grinding will become oblong. It will never be a round. So that's why it has to rotate so that the entire circumference will be in contact with the workpiece, and it's going to cut the entire workpiece, and there will be a erosion or the wear on the circumference, entire circumference of the grinding wheel. So that's why grinding wheel has to rotate. This is a question which is to be asked in Viva. Why grinding wheel has to be rotated? So workpiece is rotating, grinding wheel is rotating. At the same time, grinding wheel reciprocates. Now, depending upon the type of machines, either grinding wheel can be reciprocate or workpiece can be reciprocated. If you are using bigger grinding wheels, like say 2 feet, then it is obvious that better to keep grinding wheel stationary. Whereas if workpieces are heavy, then in that case workpieces are kept stationary. That is, they are not moved longitudinally; they are only rotated. Here, this is taper grinding. Taper is given to the grinding wheel. All the dot, little bit dark, what you can see, that is nothing but a grinding wheel. So here the grinding wheel is sliding across the surface of the workpiece. This is called the form grinding. So where a profile is dressed or a ground on the grinding wheel. Okay, grinding of grinding wheel is called as the dressing. See, grinding of tool, like tool becomes like lathe cut tools or drills or milling. Once they become blunt, then you have to do it grinding. That is done on the tool and cutter grinder. Similarly, your grinding will also becomes blunt. That is what is called the loading or glazing. We call the grinding wheels are loaded or grinding wheels are glazed. So you need to sharpen these grinding wheels, and that process is called as the grinding of the grinding wheel. Process is called the dressing. Like we dress up in order to look beautiful. So similarly and good. So similarly, grinding wheels are dressed. And how you will cut the grinding wheel? Uh, So for cutting the grinding wheels, we know we have to use diamond tools because diamond is the hardest. Okay. So that is what is called the diamond dressers. So with the help of a diamond dresser, you can give form or profiles or shapes to the grinding wheel like this here. Okay, so this is nothing but a concave shape which is being generated on the workpiece, and a convex profile is provided on the grinding wheel. This is again a small slit grinding wheel. You have to be very careful when you are using this kind of disc, thin abrasive disc, because grinding may what happens, it is rotating at very high speeds. Your grinding wheels, the speed is around 3000 rpm. So even if a small particles, foreign particles, or little change in the hardness or feed or speed can cause the grinding wheel to crack, and these grinding wheels can then fly off, fly off. And if it strikes to any people's operators below or anybody who is in the vicinity, the deaths can occur immediately because of the two reasons. One is the it is rotating at very high speeds and it moves like a bullet, and second is abrasives itself are poisonous. Okay, So even the injuries are very fatal, and it takes very high time for healing. To heal the injuries, it takes time. Grinding injury. And grinding injuries are fatal. Okay, so that's why we don't allow any interns or trainees to directly work on the grinding machines unless and until he has handled, the lathe machine, milling machine, drilling machines, at least for 6 months. Then only we allow him to operate the grinding, because it is very, uh, and remember, accident will happen once only, but then it can cause a death. Many times we are under, false, we can say ego or confidence. अरे मेरे को क्या होता है, कुछ नहीं होएगा. हाँ. But remember, accident happens once and that makes the end of the life. This is again cylindrical grinding in which the workpiece is inclined, and workpiece is not inclined, sorry, the grinding wheel is inclined like this. This is the axis. Now here you have to grind, many slots in the workpiece, like table slots. Then this is internal grinding is very very difficult, and that's why we go for the honing. Internal grinding is very very difficult because the very first thing is that, see, I can have 1 feet ka grinding wheel external, 1 feet grinding wheel, but internal grinding may, suppose if the hole to be ground is say 25 or say 10 mm, then my grinding wheel size will be 6 mm, because I need to have a shaft or a mandrel on which the grinding wheel is hold. Okay, so if I want to grind a 10 mm ID, then my grinding wheel will be 8 mm, because the shaft I need to have 6 mm. So nothing is visible. We cannot see anything what is happening. Plus there are limitations for the chip flow. The chip has to come out easily. Then the grinding, the coolant also has to pass inside properly, and we can't see also anything. So that's why always, internal grinding is always difficult, and that's why in this whole shaft basis system, we always keep the whole size fixed, and we alter the shaft size, because we know it is easy to produce the shaft, but it is difficult to produce the, or it is difficult, or it is difficult to produce, or to difficult to alter the whole size easily. There are two major types of grinding: ऑफ हैंड ग्राइंडिंग एंड प्रिसीजन ग्राइंडिंग. ऑफ हैंड ग्राइंडिंग मतलब जो हाथ से हम लोग ग्राइंडिंग करते हो, हाँ, very rough, using flexible grinder. That is called the offhand grinding. And precision grinding means it is done with the help of the machines. With the machines, it is done. These are the common grinding wheels which are used. The again in this most common is this. So it has a hole inside, and this is mounted on a shaft, and then there is a flange, and then it is bolted. You have a nut form here. Okay, again, when you are tightening the nut, you have to tighten carefully, because if you apply a force like a darasing, if you apply a more force, then this grinding wheel will develop a crack inside the wheel, so you should be very very careful when you are mounting the grinding wheel on the machine. So that's why I told you, no, you need to have experience. This is again another grinding wheel. So this can be used for OD. This can be used for grinding the shoulders or the face of the workpieces. These are called the cup type of grinding wheel. This is a straight cup and this is a flaring cup. Okay. These are your ball type grinding wheels, and these are very well used by the die makers in die making industries. These are called the super abrasive wheels, uh, not so common. This is the photographs of grinding wheels. This is your round wheel. This is your cup wheel. These are your small wheels which are mounted or which can be mounted on a flexible grinding. Flexible grinding machine is kind of a flexible drilling. जो hand drill रहता है ना, that also many times people use for a grinding. Hand drill में drill की जगह they use this grinding wheel, but that is not actually correct. That is not correct. There are flexible grinding machines available which are meant for grinding. So you have to use that only, because grinding में कैसा रहता है, it is meant for axial thrust. So you are using only thrust bearings in case of um, this drilling, only thrust bearing, because it has to take only thrust. Whereas in abrasive grinding, you are moving the tool across x and y. So there are radial loads, there are thrust loads. So other than thrust bearing, you also need to use ball bearings, roller bearings. So the machines are designed and manufactured like that. So no doubt you can use grinding wheel on your handle machines, but then your handle machines will get spoiled very fast. Offhand grinding is very rough. If you want to grind off the castings or the forgings, then offhand grinding is the option. Precision grinding means this is done on the grinding machines. Okay, so we will see this next time, precision grinding. Okay, precision grinding, how it is classified, what are the different machines, etc., etc. So that we'll see next time. If you have any doubt, you please ask. Sorry for extending the time. Since actually our warm up time is 5 to 7 minutes, so every time I stretch 5 6 minutes. So sorry for that. Any doubts, please ask.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
welcome.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome.